Hello, I'm Jane Caro and I'm standing for the Senate in the next election for Reason Australia in New South Wales. Well, it's budget morning and it's a sugar hit budget as we expected with an election just a few weeks away really. Of course they're trying to buy a few votes here and there. Some of that, those cuts will be welcome, but they're temporary. They'll come and then they'll go. But it's some other big important things. There's plenty of money, I've noticed, being spent to keep us safe. Defence spending's up, cyber security, things like that. But the biggest existential threat to peace and prosperity and stability and all of those things that we care about, that we need to defend, is climate change. And yet, according to The Guardian this morning, there's cuts in the expenditure to help us transition and lower our emissions, for goodness sake. That's just crazy. There are other good things in the budget. There is a little bit for women's safety. Hooray! Drags kicking and screaming to the sticking point, but at least they've done something. But there's nothing to help with more affordable housing. And this really matters for women in particular. You can't leave an abusive relationship if you've got nowhere to go. And in terms of long-term financial security for women as they age, fastest growing group amongst the homeless is women over 55, housing affordability, social housing are absolutely key. And there are some egregious little cuts. A 20% cut to support for the arts. People in the arts took a huge income hit right through the pandemic. And yet what did we rely on to get us through the lockdowns? Why? People in the arts. It's an egregious little cut to a sector that's already suffered enough and which is vitally important and also a huge contributor to our economy. And there's some other cuts yet to be announced. I wonder what they're about. I think we need to change this government primarily because of social issues, but also and fundamentally because of their lack of action, their absolute disdain for doing anything about our rapidly changing climate on the very day, the very night when Lismore was inundated again and people evacuated in droves for the second time in a few weeks. Surely the writing is on the wall that we need to be pouring money into transitioning this economy to renewables. If you believe that, don't vote for this government at the next election and consider voting for me. I am passionate about doing something about climate change. It's urgent and it matters so much, particularly for our children and our children's children.
Authorised by E. Sinclair Collingwood.